I'm back out here on Beaver Lake, and I was out here last week as well. Last week, it was tough. I even heard the guides were having a tough time, which made me feel a little bit better. I'm sure they did better than I did. I was out on Tuesday, caught 3 keeper crappie. I was out on Wednesday. I decided to troll that day. I caught 1 keeper. Then I went back out on Thursday and I caught 3 more keeper crappie. It was brutal. And it was hot. We had had some rain previously. The lake had recently come up 2 feet. Since then, we've gotten some more rain. I haven't looked at the lake level yet, but the lake has come up. In fact, when I launched my boat this morning, I had to wade water to get to the courtesy dock to get to my boat. The lake is going through a bunch of change right now. Hope we catch them. We've got a couple of plans today, and we'll see how it works out. Let's go fishing. There's a fish on that tree. It's not very far out. See if I can get his attention. Oh, it just went down. This is a good example of why you need to fish into the wind. Right now, the wind's to my back and has pushed me over this fish. I decided to fish this direction to avoid running to the back of the creek over the top of cover I wanted to fish. You just can't get on top of them, because they will run here. Sure have a lot of bluegill around here. Trying to find some crappie. I've been fishing shallow cover along the shoreline without success, so I've moved out to deeper water to try fishing some cover out here. Not sure if what I'm looking at here is bluegill or small crappie. They're not moving as much as bluegill or brim typically do. The flashes you're seeing on the Live Scope screen are due to crosstalk from the other units being turned on. I currently have the ghost reject turned off because I'm targeting fish in that area. If the ghost reject is on, it diminishes the strength of the image of the bait as it goes through the ghost tree area. My ability to keep the Live Scope pointed at the bait, well, that's a different issue. Little bitty guys. Thought they were bluegill. Looks like they're crappie, just little ones. I've been throwing some medium-sized baits in various styles. At the moment, I'm fishing a little 2-inch Kitech swim bait. Well, I had the attention of one, and it looked like a crappie. The crappie are following the bait, but something about it isn't quite right. A little 2-inch swim bait is small, but maybe not small enough. I'm going to try to downsize a little bit. With a smaller bait on, a crappie follows it and turns away. And then he turns back to follow it again. This is a good sign. He's showing more interest. Well, those are crappie. Pretty sure. On this cast, I'm going to try a more vertical presentation and then make a sudden horizontal change to the bait's motion to see if it will trigger a strike. There's some bigger ones down there. I think the little ones are just opportunistic. They're getting it while they can. That one's little. I know there's some bigger ones down there. I have one follow it right here. He doesn't commit, but he's showing interest. It's possible the bite has been off and is now turning on. No, felt him. I'm actually encouraged. In the past 10 minutes, the crappie are showing more interest in the bait. I've had 2 crappies nip at it, and I caught 2 small ones. Earlier today, I had crappie that would follow the bait, but wouldn't commit. Now, they're starting to follow through. A week ago, the crappie would notice my bait and follow at a distance with very few exceptions. That's all they would do. And we've got something working now a little bit. Wish they were a little bigger, but I'll take what I can get. It has been really tough. The situation we have is this is mid-June and there is an abundance of food available to these fish. All the fry from the spawn are swimming around. Once in a while you'll see the clouds move through. Plus there's lots of shad. You can see the shad on the screen right now. The fish just really aren't hungry. They haven't been anyway. It was a little bit better. Boy, he wanted it. I have downsized my bait and we'll see how much of a difference that makes. Decent little fish. I was out last week and the bite was really tough. I struggled to get a fish. Got them fired up now. They're not the big ones. But they will stretch your line a little bit. They're fun. It's weird, the wind is moved around behind me. It's now pushing me. These ravines create a challenge. Crappie bite has turned on finally. Boy, it was not on earlier today. It has turned on now. They're not the slabs I was catching, but they're fish. Got a feeling the slabs are out in the deeper water. Might be able to go out there and catch them now if the smaller ones are starting to bite. I bet that's a bunch of small crappie right there. Either that or bluegill, but I'm betting those are crappie. Several fish you look at, and some follow the bait. Ask yourself, what did or didn't happen to cause one to bite? That one's a little better. Got some shoulders on him. Yeah, decent little fish right there. They're wanting that smaller bait, looks like. We've been throwing something bigger. Nice little fish. I have tried throwing large and medium profile baits. I've also thrown hair jigs. The crappie have shown very little interest, at least for the moment. Tomorrow could be completely different. Saw him come out and get it on the drop. Little one. I'm sure I could pick up quite a few off that little tree. We're going to see if we can find some better ones out over here. There's some on that tree. The bite has improved a lot over last week. That's a good crappie right there, if I could get him to take interest. I'm going to have to get a little closer to him. There's more crappie on this tree than there appears at first glance. The crappie I'm targeting isn't the one I catch. It was decent. A little better than what I was finding in that other tree. They're eating. Makes me happy, because they weren't eating last week. The bait is falling vertically when the crappie strikes it. The weight indicates the bite. Keep an eye on it. The vertical presentation ends up working well today. Saw him make my weight stop falling. It was sinking and it just quit going down. It looks like they like it to be falling today. I didn't do soft plastic. This one's chewed up. Catching some good quality keeper fish. Not huge, but good eaters. I have quite a bit of crosstalk at the moment from the other sonar units. If you look past it, you'll see schools of fry around that tree. You will find schools of fry up around the shoreline also. The fry are so small, they look more like fog or a mist rather than individual fish. Fish born last year would be large enough to identify as individuals at these graph settings. It's working. You can tell these fish have recently come off the beds. I'll show you up here on this one. Look at that fish's tail. Well, he needs to straighten his tail out. But if you straighten his tail out, you can see how worn that tail is. The fish has been fanning. So that means there's fry up there on the bank. I don't think they're biting this particular color as good as the other one. I'm getting a lot more fish ignoring it. On this white, they seem to like that one that was a little more silver in it. There's lots of fry in here. There again, back on that tree that has all those little fish in it. I'm going to put on a different bait because I think it was working a little better. However, I see some fish over here on a tree I'm going to target first. Right there. Little ones. I am real curious if the bite is turned on now, if I can find some fish out in the timber, out in the deeper water. They say never leave fish to find fish, but I'm looking for the bigger ones right now. Let's go make a move and see what we can find. This is a pretty good sized tree with a lot of branches on it. And this is my fourth cast to it. The first three, I had no takers. Thing is, when I hooked this crappie, I stopped paying attention to the live scope. When I was editing the video, I saw something interesting. I'll play it back for you. Oh, that's a healthy one. Well, they're out here too. The crappie I caught had some other fish hanging around it, and they leave right after I hooked that crappie. I'm betting they were crappie too. Oh, that's a healthy one. Well, they're out here too. That crappie came from about 21 feet deep. The shallower fish are, well, you'll see. Just little ones. Oh, this is bluegill. Quite often, you'll find the smaller crappie on top of the cover and the bigger crappie lower in the cover. You can find brim at the top also. There we go. They're down there. Bluegill are just up on top. I might have got a limit today if I'd been keeping these. Problem is I don't have time to clean them when I get home. I have been working my way out towards the mouth of the cove. Not much out here on these trees. Pretty scarce. We're going to run up in the back of that other little creek arm. Let's see if we can find them in there. I have the trolling motor in reverse to stop the boat. If you look around the tree in view, you'll see that mist or fog around it. Looks like we have fry in the area. Look at that school of baitfish 22 feet deep and 14 feet out from the boat. That's what a school of grown shad look like. That big fish above them has them huddled together very tight. I'm going to keep the time of day, the cast numbered, and the crappie count for this new fishing area because the bite is now on, at least for the next few fish. Found some more crappie. They're still back here. Gotta get back in the backs of these creeks. They're back here where the fry are at, and the shad. There's some shad back here, but there's a bunch of fry back here as well. They know where the buffet's at. I am, for the most part, going to keep the cameras rolling and not cut anything out, with the exception of a couple of places to compress time. Not every cast produces a crappie. This one does produce a bite. A presentation with a vertical drop and an erratic motion gets the bait attention, followed by a gradual upward angle gets a bite. I think I missed a bite here, but I catch the next. Yeah. That's what I like. That would be just a keeper, nothing more. There are several crappie in this little tree. The challenge on this lake is catching more than 2 or 3 out of a group. The advantage is you can move from one piece of cover to another pretty quickly, giving you a fresh group of crappie. I end up catching 4 out of this tree. I'm a little amazed. This is fun. There's a bunch of them down there. What I'm using right now is my ACC crappie sticks. It's a 10-foot pole. It's a jig pole. Shimano reel with 15-pound braid. Using a Leland Lures eye-hole jig. Using an itty bit slab hunter in the color live minnow right now. We've got 6-pound braid on. 6-pound fluorocarbon on for a leader. The bite is turned on. It's been off. I don't know if I'll get one here or not. Might. Yep. What a hoot. Whole bunch of them that size. The time is we're in mid-June right now, and these fish have not headed back out to the main lake yet. They're still back here in the creeks. I think this tree might be done. I don't see any more. The fish have left. Let's go see if we can find another one. Fish are hanging it out back here because there's so much food. Water temperature is 81 degrees, and they are staying where the buffet's at. I think I can probably catch one there. I'm going to use it's already over here on the side, on the pole. I don't know if there's one in that tree or not. It looks like there might be. Yep, one in that tree as well. I was going to fish the brush pile, but I didn't make it to the brush pile. After last week, and the week that I had, it's nice being able to catch a few again. They are biting, folks. Get out here, get to fishing. See if I can pull another one out of that tree. I messed that cast up. Or I'd have probably caught one of those. I'm going to target that brush pile, since I've messed with that tree a couple of times. There again, I'm using the pole right now. I'm not using the trolling motor. When you make those casts that draw the fish, but don't get the bite, evaluate what you did. You may or may not have been the difference. A few starter questions to ask are, how many casts have I made to these crappie? Is there one crappie or multiple crappie to create competition? Did I change my presentation? Didn't get one on that pass. Keep in mind, you're not the only factor in the mix. The fish is the one making the final decision. Your goal should be not to contribute to the reason the fish doesn't bite. There we go. One of them came up and got it. Oops. Just carbon copies of each other. They're all about that 11-inch mark, 12. Looks like we have some over here in these trees. Bring it over the first one and drop it down between them. It's the one I was going after. Shorten my line up a little bit on that one. They're biting pretty good. I moved out to the middle of this creek. They weren't out there. I trolled out there last week. That's why I didn't catch any. I did catch one out towards the mouth, but the majority of the fish are still back here where the food's at. I'm gonna go back to the trolling motor graph. I'm gonna drop it in on top of them and see how they respond to it. And they ate it. Got his tail a little curled, but they're not big. Good eating. I would have definitely had a limit today. I'll have to come back out when I can actually have some time to clean them. I mean, we're middle of the afternoon, so some days the afternoon bite is not the place to be trying, and then some days it works well. I've got 3 different targets here I can throw to, which is making it convenient because I pull a couple of fish off of one, and then I can pull a couple of fish off of another target, is what I was thinking. My attention just shifted from video mode to 100% fishing mode. I have a lot of choices. There are several fish around the cover down there. With the way the bite is turned on, I'm a little surprised I didn't get a bite on that cast. This is a good one. I'm gonna measure this one. $14.5. See that tail, tip of that tail's coming. Almost 15, not quite, 14.5. Good solid fish. Let this one go. Here's a good example of a school of shad where you can see some of the individual fish. When they pack closely together, the ball just looks like it's flickering. Another good fryer, about an 11-inch fish. I think you could go around up in here and hit all of these trees up in here. The bite's turned back on. The bite was off when I first came out. I was targeting those same fish, wasn't able to catch them. They are kind of moody. I encourage you to get out there, stick with it. I was considering packing it up and heading back to the house. I'm glad I didn't, because it turned into a really fun afternoon. I encourage you to get on the water. I thank you guys for watching. You have a blessed day, and I hope to see you on the water.